Wow, I had no idea ripping CDs to your phone was such a big topic. A lot of you had questions, comments, needed clarification, had some other ideas. Well, you're not going to want to miss this follow-up because I'm going to try to address as many of them as I can and show you a few extra goodies that maybe we didn't get around to last time. You don't want to miss this one. Stick around.
Let's go into the Monroe world.
Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe here. So after I did my video, a lot of you had comments and questions. So I did want to address a few things first. Now, number one, everybody said there's two plugs here. You should be using one of these for power, like plugging in a battery and then using this to plug into the phone or vice versa. That does not work, and we could actually do that again if you wanted to see. These are both data lines, right? So if you're plugging into a phone or a new laptop, you use this. If you're plugging into an older computer, you use this. There's no additional power here. But a lot of you said, hey, Shane, there are players out there that actually have a power cable with it that you should be able to use so that you could get power to this. Then you wouldn't need some elaborate OTG power supply. So I've got one, and we're going to look at it and see how it works. Now, the other thing that a lot of folks brought up is, could you use an actual hub? Would a powered hub do the job? Because a lot of people seem to have these laying around. The answer is yes, you can use this, and we're going to actually use this later as part of one of our demos. Some of you also commented on my choice in music. So I made a run this weekend to Goodwill. I got Def Leppard, I got Peter Gabriel, I got Journey, I got Bread. I'm not sure how you guys can complain about that. So we'll be using these for our demo today. Now, one of the other questions that a lot of folks asked was, this is an Android-based digital audio player. Couldn't we just rip directly to this instead of ripping to the phone and then copying it over here? You, sirs, are absolutely right. You could do that. However, just like everything else in Android land, this particular player needs a little something different to make this whole thing work. We're going to talk about that in a minute as well. So I also reached out and grabbed a few more things that might actually make a little more sense than using some sort of a dongle. I've got these things. We actually have a power meter today that we're going to actually be looking at how much juice these things are drawing in order to make things work. So we're going to look at this a little more detailed today, as well as offer you up some other good stuff. Now, one of the big questions I got, and I'm sorry I don't have a definitive answer here, is, can I do this on the iPhone? Out of the box, apparently the answer is no, because the iPhone will not allow you to plug in a USB device and read it directly on the phone. So you can't rip what you can't read. Now, apparently there's a camera connector kit that you can use that will give you USB, like sort of direct access with USB. So there's probably a solution. I have no Apple devices in the house. I can't help you out with that, but keep an eye on the comments down below. Lots of people were helpful in giving some ideas, and I'm sure that there is a working solution if you're willing to spend a few bucks to make it happen. So that was a very common question. Another thing you all called me out on, and you were probably good to, is I said that I've had a computer in my house since 1979. The truth is, the older you get, the more fluid you are with time remembrance, right? So the truth is, it was more like 1982 when I got my very first used Commodore VIC-20. We were a pretty poor household. My mom was a single mother, and I have no idea what she had to do to get me a computer in 1982, but God bless you, Mom. Thank you if you're watching. I wouldn't be doing all of this if it wasn't for her, so thank you, Mom. All right, so let's take a look at what we have here. I ordered this one. This one's a few dollars more. You should recognize the enclosure, but this enclosure, unlike the other one, this enclosure actually has a spot for external power. Now, there's nothing on this other one anywhere, so there's no way to plug in more juice. So I thought to myself, if I were to get one of these that actually had an additional power lead, maybe we could get rid of this guy. Okay, that's probably true. So let's take a look at what we have here. So this pigtail cable for power is USB-A, and it's like one of the bare bone basic ones. I also have here a simple adapter that converts A to C, If you own an Android phone like a Samsung, you probably have like 10 of these laying around because they used to include one in every box. So we have this, we have the ability to plug this in wherever we want. And you might recognize this guy because it's exactly the same as the one on the other. Be a little bit of different. Oh, there you go. Perfect. All right, well, they're the same plugs. These, again, are both data lines. You cannot work your magic around and try to get that working. So what we have here is, this is another different type of drive, by the way. So if you remember, and this is a good time to pause for a moment and talk about this. These are not identical drives. When you buy one of these, even from my Amazon affiliate listing, plug, link down in the description below, thank you. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but we get a couple of shekels out of it. So thank you for using our Amazon affiliate links. You may not even get the same drives that you see here. Because literally, as somebody pointed out in the comments, these are just enclosures. And they rip out laptop drives or wherever they can get drives from and they throw them in here. So your mileage may vary. This is interesting because this particular drive works a little bit better than the other drive without external power. It'll actually kind of try, right? So let's take a look. I'm going to take this power out. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to plug this guy in. We'll let it spin up. Oh, wait, there it goes. It's asking just like before. We're going to say okay and okay. All right. Well, it's not in an endless loop. Look, it says trays open. Hey, wait a minute. Do we really have one that works without power? Whoa, maybe. Let's get some Def Leppard in here. Guys can't fault me for Def Leppard, man. Come on. All right, so I'm going to plug it in. Now, what we would expect, though, is to see some heavier power draw when the disk is spinning and actually reading. So what's going on here? It looks like you can hear it grinding in there. It's blah. It's gone. It's not gonna do the deed here. It's trying, it's spinning. It needs the juice, right? But hey, we got the juice. We've got the extra power. Put this guy in, and I'm gonna take this plug off because I suspect that this USB-A port on this power brick, which by the way, if you don't have one of these are the greatest things ever. Look at this, it's got a little cabling. It's a freebie, it's included, right? But this is a great little, power bank here. All right, so look, it's back. No disk is inserted, it's spinning it up. It's identifying the disk. Def Leppard, Pyromania, and let's go. And it's saving. You can see the lights on. Now, this drive is not particularly fast, but you can see it is ripping. So we still needed juice, right? So whether or not you use the, where is it? I have it in here somewhere. Where'd it go? Whether or not you're using an OTG adapter that has power plugged into it, or you're doing something like this, it's still not as elegant as it could be, right? Everybody's looking for the perfect one cable elegant solution. The answer is, it doesn't exist. You're not going to find it. Dead on, simple as that. Stop trying. All right, so now what I do want to do though is unplug this power. Now you can see the drive went away, right, as we expected. Now we're going to take a look at a couple of other alternatives. I found this. This is a Zoox. This is a company I buy a lot of these little tiny things from. This looks like it'd be dead on, right? Power delivery in, so we could plug a power bank into it, and then a USB port to actually plug in the drive, right? So we could just, it's always wrong. No matter which one you do, it's always wrong. And then I will take this guy out. I will use this cable. So one thing I do want to point out is a lot of you said, hey, Shane, did you try this? This should work, this should work, this should work, this should work. The truth of the matter is, I've tried so much stuff off camera that it'll make you crazy. All right, so let me plug this back in. It seems to be saying that there's a USB permission denied error, but it can't do it. That's the problem. It's trying really hard, but it can't. So I'm going to use this other cable that I used in the previous video. I'm going to plug this in. And I'm showing you stuff that doesn't work for a reason. All right, so this time, what are we doing? It's thinking. It's not making good. So no, it doesn't work. All right, so this pigtail is useless for us. This doesn't work. But I happen to have this from my Steam Deck days. Now, this guy actually has the power. Now, you know what? I'm going to use the battery pack. Because, you know, a lot of people want to take this on the go, and I'll give you a secret use for that at the end of the show here. So stick around till the end. You know, good YouTube little cliffhanger there. All right, so let's plug this guy in, and let's see if things behave with this little device. Well, so far, so good. There we go. Now she's working. I got a hair on there. I swear, I got cats, I got dogs. Shed like a collie. All right, so there we go. Now life is back to normal. So you could use this guy, which, let's be honest, this is probably a little better than this. I think it's a little more expensive, but you could even plug in like a mouse or a keyboard in here if you're using decks on here. I'm just saying. All right, so we know that this works out okay. And we've got this cute little battery to take with us. So really, we're starting to kind of get a better situation here, right? We don't necessarily need the weird dongle. We just use one of these little pigtails, and there's a couple different uses you could use that pigtail for. Now, what we really would like to do, though, let me stop this from ripping. I'm going to throw this in between. I want to see what sort of juice that this guy is drawing, right? What do we need? What do we need to see in order to make this thing work? And you're going to start figuring out why USB-A doesn't work out very well. Look at how much juice this thing is pulling. 20 watts? 23 watts? No wonder the port doesn't work all by itself. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That's a lot of power it's trying to pull out. So yeah, so that gives you an idea as to how much juice you need for this particular drive to actually work properly and be able to support the ripping. But what about, let's go ahead and pull, let's take, well, this thing gets really warm. I don't know, that's kind of, that creeps me out a little bit. So let's take this other drive, since some of you probably already bought this one. Thank you for, again, buying off our affiliate links. All right, so let's see what this one does. Let's see if the amount, yeah, look at that. Well, let's say, okay, let's let it go ahead. So this is like 16. What do we got here? Bread. I cleaned this disc a minute ago, so let's use this one. All right. So let's see what this looks like. Again, we're in the 19s and 20s, right? Now, I don't have the number in front of me, and someone's going to make fun of me for not having that doing a video. I think for USB-A, the maximum you're going to see is 15, or is it 13? It's not 20. That's why it doesn't work, right? That's why we need the USB-C solution versus the USB-A. You gotta have the power. Now, I will tell you something else. If you're messing with your setup, every time you change the power drive configuration, unplug and plug this back in. You will find that you'll chase your tail a lot less, right? I do this stuff so you don't have to. So there you go. We now have yet another way of taking care of business, and we have a pretty definitive answer why USB-A doesn't work. It's not going to get enough juice to do the job. So there you go. That answers a whole bunch of questions about power consumption, what we need, why certain things don't work, all that good stuff. Right, so let's reset. While we're here, one more question to answer. Can you burn a CD with this tool? The answer is no. There's no way to burn here. This is simply a ripper and player. So that answers that question. All right, so let's go ahead and we're gonna reset now. We're gonna get the phone out of the loop because a lot of you wanted to know about the player. Could I use this Hiby M300 Android device to actually rip directly and forget about the phone? Now, we're going to show you how this works, and it does work with the right configuration, but I do want to point out, most digital audio players are not Android, right? If you're not paying $150 plus, which is pretty much on par, you'll probably have like a Hiby OS, or you'll have some proprietary thing which can read OTG from the phone, but you can't rip to it because you need Android. This is why I bought the M300 specifically, not to rip discs, but because PlexAmp requires Android, and PlexAmp is how I like to consume music on this device. No Android, no PlexAmp, and in this case, No Android, no discs, no way of ripping discs yourself. So let's go ahead and plug in the existing solution that we had here. We'll just take the phone out of the loop and plug this guy in. All right, let's see what we got. Everything's plugged back in. I don't know why it keeps resetting that. All right. So this is like pulling 3, 5, 8. Here we go. 9, 8, 9. But notice we're not getting the drive up here. It's not coming. This system worked fine for my Samsung phone, but it doesn't work for this. Why? This should work, right? We got the juice, we got the plug. Everything should be, but we're only getting 8 watts here. Is that the problem? Well, I can tell you that if you try to play around with this a little bit, right? Let's look at the methodology we used the last time we did this video. So we're going to plug in the OTG. Okay, now it says no disk inserted. Okay, maybe, huh? Oh, wait, nope, it's gone. No disk inserted, trying, reading. It's thinking, nope, gone. So this doesn't work either. But yet, this worked on the Samsung. You could lose your mind with this crap. But I did tell you, but Shane, you said there was a way to make this work. Oh, I did indeed, sir. I did indeed. And it was this. This Anchor, was this a 7-in-1 or is this the 6-in-1? I don't want to count right now. Let's take a look at this. So this is a USB hub. I'm going to power the hub. I am going to plug the drive right into the USB port. I know this is starting to get a little jumbled here. And then I'm going to plug it in here. Let's see if it behaves now. So they're going, Shane, you know it behaves because you did this like 100 times this morning before shooting this video. But let's take a look. Thinking about it. Hello? Uh-oh. So what's going on here? Maybe this guy is not putting out enough juice for this hub. Now remember, hubs take voltage and wattage off the top of your request. So even though the device is asking for a certain amount of juice, this is taking stuff off the top. We may have to move ourselves to something a little more powerful, shall we say. So let's get rid of this. I'm going to get a wall charger plug it in through the USB multimeter. I'll have a link to this, by the way. You almost can't have a USB setup without having one of these guys. So now let's take a look at what's going on. Hey, it's reading the disk. But look at our wattage, man. It's only like what, 4.9 or 3.94? But look, it's reading it fine. So it's not the wattage, right? Because we were getting 8 before. It's how it's delivered, maybe the sustainability of it. God only knows. So essentially, if you take anything from this video, no 2 Android devices are exactly alike. Whether it's a Galaxy phone, a DAP, or whatever, just assume that each one's going to be a little different and have little different requirements. So here we go, though. I mean, you can see it's working. So the answer to the question, we took the long route. We took the Teacher's Edition route, and that is yes, you could rip directly to this Hiby. And in fact, in my case, this is probably how I would do it, right? Why would I don't want to rip to my phone. The whole point of me having a DAP is so that I don't need my phone to listen to music. That was another common question. Just use your phone. Why aren't you just using your phone? Rip to the phone, torrent a bunch of music, just download it from YouTube and just listen on your phone. Guys, you're totally missing the point of this video. Owning CDs, that's the point. Ripping to the format you want, not some crappy 128 kilobit off of YouTube music. I'm talking about full ownership of the audio chain here. Just torrenting crap, you're not owning anything, right? I thought the point was to own. If you didn't want to own, you could just pay a few bucks to Spotify every month and get 10 billion tracks for, one price. So I'm just thinking, maybe we don't torrent, pirate, or do whatever. Maybe we actually buy CDs. Or, yes, somebody mentioned, by the way, the library. Your local library probably has music CDs for you to check out. Now, for fun, I checked out my library. My library has like 14 music CDs to choose from. Man, there's no bread in there. There's no Def Leppard in there. There's no Journey in there. So yeah, so your mileage may vary in the library thing, but once again, you're borrowing from the library. Now you're not having to pay for it. You're getting it for free, but you got to give it back. The whole point of this is some physical ownership so that you can have your media the way that you want it. What happens if you rip it and then you're not happy with your rip and you got to go borrow it again? Grab it for a couple bucks and then you own it forever. All right, so there you go. That's the, this thing's a mess here. There are the questions that you needed answered. And yes, this would probably be, and I'll have a link to this exact one again down in the description below. Having the external power kind of beats this rigmarole, but not by much. Honestly, if you have one of these, then you're already set. You could get one of these, but you're still gonna have to power it. So what's the deal? So you're gonna have something extra. So what are our options here? Let's run through this one more time and I'm gonna get out of here. So I've got a billion other videos to work on today. You're gonna have to do something. If you're using your phone, you're gonna have to use an OTG. You're gonna have to use one of these pigtails. You're gonna have to use a hub. This hub will work fine on the phone too. Maybe you have this laying around. Otherwise, this thing's like 50 or 60 bucks. And this is like $5. So do the math. You might need some sort of an adapter for your particular situation, USB A to C. Because sometimes, while this does have a C plug on it, you might get more mileage this way. Or you might get more mileage plugging into the C port of a battery. So love this battery. Isn't this so cool? I did a review, by the way. I'll leave a link in the upper right there for you. I did a review of this battery. It's really cool. And of course, some of you also mentioned that buying a cheap laptop from eBay, something that already has a CD drive and Windows already installed for just a smattering of dollars could also do the trick. But I figure if you're watching this video, it's because you don't want to own a computer at all. You just want to use your phone. But let's be fair, you could use a cheap laptop. All right, so here's your bonus material, folks. I drove down to Goodwill, and unfortunately, the pickings were a little on the slim side, but we did manage to score a Simon and Garfunkel album on CD, 99 cents, of course. And I have my mobile ripping station right here. I've got a battery pack, my pigtail, and my drive. Now, some of you had asked specifically if you thought that the car's power could power this guy. Well, we're going to try that first thing. And let's go ahead and use my Android Auto plug here. No idea if this is going to wig everything out or not, but let's find out. We'll try to power it with this. Plug it into Mr. Phone. All right. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's asking for the disk. No disk is inserted. Okay. Okay, no disk. Let's put in our newly acquired. Sorry, this is interesting here. Here we go. All right. Okay, we got sounds of silence. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, let's see what happens. Can it maintain? No, it's freaking out. No. Nope, not going to happen. All right, well, that's fine. That's why we brought an extra battery pack. Again, this is a great little pack. Plug this in. Plug it into the power. I know, I'm fighting over everything here. All right. Here we go. Yes, we have permission. Let's go. All right. We're sitting here in the parking lot of a Goodwill, ripping CDs on our phone. Yeah, that's pretty damn cool. Too bad the Android Auto thing didn't work out, but it is what it is. And we now have a mobile ripping station with a tiny battery and just a handful of things that we drag with us when we go to Goodwill so we can rip these guys on the fly. I think that wraps it up. I've answered your questions. I've addressed the comments. And I've given you guys some new food for thought. Big thanks, by the way, to, this isn't sponsored, by the way. Discs did not sponsor me. I paid my 10 bucks just like everybody else. But they did reach out to me and thank me for doing all this coverage and doing all this testing. I'm talking to him in the background, the developer, about maybe some other ways we could fix this. And if I come up with some magical solution working with those guys. What about DVDs? You got a DVD player? Oh, not that one. I think that's a DVD player. You got a DVD player, Shane? Can we play Maybe we can play a little DVD action in there. Shane, what do you think? Well, I'm working on it. If you want me to work on it faster or work on it more, leave a comment down below. And I think we're going to wrap things up for today. I'm Shane R. Monroe. Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, hype, hit the bell, all that YouTube stuff. It really helps out. You guys are the best. Keep the comments coming. Keep the comments civil. You guys have been great so far. A couple of you have gone off the pack. But you don't like Hoobastank, but maybe you like Def Leppard, huh? Maybe you like the Def Leppard. Everyone loves Def Leppard. Come on, it's a universal love. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.